European energy crisis worsens as OPEC lowers production. The global energy crisis plaguing Europe began in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic and shows no signs of abating. The shortage of natural gas supply and the rising cost of oil and electricity are affecting the lives of millions of people throughout the region. In fact, it looks like the situation will only get worse in the foreseeable future. Analysts now expect oil prices to rise back above $100 per barrel as a result of OPEC, a cartel of nations that manufacture the vast majority of the world's oil, recently announcing it would be lowering production by more than 1 million barrels per day in an effort to raise prices and generate greater profits. While Europe experienced a mild winter this past season, there's a strong possibility that they won't be so fortunate next time. But before we continue, allow me to welcome you to another video of Finance Sense, where we cover all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to our channel, and turn on the notification bell to keep posted. With that being said, let's start. The global energy crisis has greatly affected the UK and has been a huge contributing factor to the high cost of living. Moreover, the prolonged energy shortage has also contributed significantly to the UK's dramatic increase in inflation. For example, if you look at France across the English Channel, from August 2020 to August 2022, household energy prices rose by a staggering 37%. Furthermore, energy markets throughout the world have been devastated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and Europe's reliance on Russian natural gas has contributed to the energy crisis that has been going on for more than a year. If you are a homeowner, a bill payer, or even a casual observer of financial trends over time, you have probably observed that energy costs in all forms have increased significantly. But right now, with increased inflation, an impending financial crisis, and this turbulent recession in Europe, it seems like the global economy is headed for a wild ride. Moving along, the financial crisis has also rekindled the threat of a recession, as the World Bank has issued new warnings about a lost decade of growth and the impending arrival of a credit crunch. In recent weeks, everyone's attention has been focused on the energy markets across the world as they try to make sense of what's happening and what it all means. We are all aware that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has contributed significantly to the energy situation in Europe. Additionally, Russian natural gas and oil exports to the West have brought hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia, despite EU sanctions imposed in response to the invasion. However, these exports are gradually beginning to slow down. Now, the European Union is making every effort to shift its energy supply away from Russia by utilizing liquefied natural gas imports from Qatar and the United States, increasing domestic output from alternative energy sources like wind and solar, and even delaying the shutdown of nuclear and coal power plants. However, it is evident that the energy conflict between Russia and the West will not stop anytime soon, despite the current energy crisis testing Europe's political will and economic endurance. It took the West a lot of time to implement a price ceiling on Russian oil, and there was apparently some success at first, but we've seen that Japan went against the West and paid more for Russian oil than they had set as a price cap. Now, it appears that Russia has been successful in finding consumers for its oil, particularly in Asia. However, it has been compelled to sell at prices well below market rates, often by as much as 30%, causing its income streams to suffer. Meanwhile, the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, in which unidentified perpetrators planted explosives and blew up both pipes in the Baltic Sea, brought the drama surrounding this energy crisis to a peak. And the United States is suspected of being responsible for this act of sabotage. Today, it is evident that Europe's energy market will never be the same as it was several years ago. Alexei Miller, CEO of Gazprom, issued a warning that families in Europe still run the danger of freezing during a cold snap, even if they have increased their gas reserves for the winter. Miller stated, "Sure, Europe will survive, but what will happen when gas injection into storage occurs before the winter of 2023 and 2024? Ultimately, it turned out that Gazprom, Putin, and all other Russian experts were mistaken when they predicted that Europe would undoubtedly freeze and that residents would starve to death in their houses because its energy infrastructure would not be able to support them. They asserted that this would impact the entire continent and spark a revolution, forcing the West to change its position on Russia and stop supporting Ukraine. But none of that actually took place at all. Currently, gas prices are much lower than they were at the beginning of the winter. Governments like the UK, which stepped in to subsidize energy costs for millions of homes, are starting to draw back on their support because they believe consumers can now handle the situation on their own. However, because 2022 had an abnormally mild winter that undoubtedly favored the West, there is a potential that things won't go well the following year. Good weather won't last forever. The EU is aware of this and is making a genuine effort to resolve the situation as quickly as possible. Infrastructure could not be created out of thin air, and it took decades to construct the present systems in Europe, which must now be replaced. Although newly commissioned nuclear facilities promise to solve all of Europe's problems, it will be decades before they begin to provide energy. This issue will not be resolved soon, and it is possible that the situation is about to get even more severe. A cartel of nations known as OPEC, which produces most of the world's oil, said that it would decrease supplies to drive up prices and increase profits. This was due to the fact that oil prices had started going down, a trend that they had been maintaining for several months. There is a possibility that Europe may experience a freezing winter if it flatly refuses to invest in the most reliable energy-producing methods. Meanwhile, the energy markets throughout the world have been unstable recently. Countries that rely on energy export revenues to keep their economies afloat benefit from increasing energy costs. This is why Russia has been casting doubt on the energy security of Europe. And it is also why OPEC declared that they would be cutting the amount of oil they produce. High energy prices translate into increased revenue, which is terrible news for a lot of people worldwide. In Europe, natural gas is the primary energy source. Although it may not always be beneficial for the environment, this is what their infrastructure is designed to run. And it finds a reasonable compromise between cost and efficiency without excessively polluting the environment. Moreover, as long as it doesn't originate from Russia, the EU is now increasing its reliance on natural gas. To encourage more investment in this sector and improve supply, they have even gone so far as to modify the narrative that natural gas is now considered green energy. Hi, it looks like you've reached the end of this video. Thank you for watching this far. Please subscribe and give a like if you enjoyed it, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. This is Finance Sense, helping you keep up with all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. See you around!